Oh, and here we have water.
Oh, look at us with our little hotel water.
Oh, yes, hotel water.
We'll need to bring up splits on yours.
Yeah.
When we get there.
Here, I'm trying to figure out where to put this. That will be a good spot.
Do you think
it's fine off center?
Okay. I think so. You want to test it?
No. I
mean, one more test.
It's fine. Actually, it's probably fine off camber. Like, it's probably not a big deal if it's... All right. I won't tell you my passcode on camera. Okay, here. I will show it to you, though.
For the YouTubers.
I will show it to you, though.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Did it work?
That's
okay.
It's super
For the YouTubers, we had 1.5 margs at lunch.
Yeah.
Not allowed to drink, but you know, lightweights.
Lightweights for sure. Absolutely. All right. Their splits are up. We can do this. All right. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. A little bit of confidence and nothing to back it up.
That's right. Hey, it is Sunday.
Sunday.
Race day.
And we are here with a race recap from Jeff Galloway's 13.1 in Atlanta. We totally thought we would have way more time to record a podcast
over the weekend.
but
we were busy. We were working.
We have to leave for the airport in 2 hours.
Yes. But it all worked out. So yeah, obviously.
It definitely did.
If you didn't know, I'm Naomi.
I'm Liz.
And we're the Run Galloway girls.
And all weekend, it was amazing because everybody was like, hey, the Run Galloway girls. Even Jeff is like, oh, it's the Run Galloway girls. He loves it. So.
Everyone's so on brand. So it's
and
so fun.
Speaking of on brand, we have Sarah Marie Design Studio sweatshirts on today.
So cute.
If you see them on YouTube. These are the lace run sweatshirts in like the new colorway, like the turquoisey teal dark color.
So pretty.
It's very, very pretty.
But we wore some of our new merch yesterday. And so, yeah, we're slowly going to roll out some merch. Very limited runs, though.
We're going to roll out some limited
handmade.
runs. And then we're also going to roll out some direct print runs where they're going to go with a printing partner and you'll be able to get things. So it's going to be exciting and it's going to be fun for sure.
It's so fun.
So race recap.
Yeah.
We ran the Double G Challenge, which is the 5K on Saturday, followed by the half marathon on Sunday. And yesterday was the 5K, Barb's Leprechaun Chase. And it was so much fun.
It was so much fun. And yes, like the weather this week in Atlanta was cold for people.
It was so cold.
Local to this area and people coming up from Florida were pretty pissed about it.
It was pretty cold for us though too. Like
we haven't had weather this cold all season.
Yeah. But we were very lucky. We had thick long sleeves with us that were kind of like, we thought, oh, if we get hot in them, it's just a 5K. We're only wearing them for the 5K. But we ended up wearing them today for the half as well.
Yeah.
Again, Sarah Marie Design Studio, we wore the Best Running Friends. Almost like it's instead of a quarter zip, it's like a 3/4 zip.
Yeah.
It like zips down to your belly button and it's awesome.
You can like totally vent. It's great.
It's really, really great. So I think we start with the 5K and we move through the weekend. What do you think?
So the 5K, and which is nice, like 8 o'clock start, which probably also the time change makes sense that they would have it at 8, not 7. It starts at 7.
Great time change, like great time to start the 8 a.m. Relatively small for 5K, although it is maxed out with the number of runners because the course is kind of a small course. I would say maybe a half mile is outside of Piedmont Park.
Right.
And the rest of the course is in Piedmont Park that was just so beautiful to run through.
It's so beautiful. Like you wouldn't know this little oasis is in the middle of like a big city.
And a net downhill for the 5K because it was the same miles that we ran at the end of the half today, which was a net uphill.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a bit.
So it was really, really great. We did the Barb's Leprechaun Chase 5K. We did 30/30s. And we were right about 30 minutes and 50 seconds. We probably were a little faster than we talked it up and that we said we were going to take it out as a very easy run. But sometimes it's just hard to run slow. And you're within it. Like when you're and when you're with a crowd, like when you're in a race, it is hard to like slow down. Yeah, to like take it was definitely my fault because I started to feel really good at mile 2 and was like, I'm gonna let my legs open up a little bit. Sorry, girls.
Yeah.
Keep up.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I felt like, because I felt good. Like, I needed to like work out some kinks personally, and I knew that what we were doing wouldn't hurt anyone.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was like it was like, I know we had our friend Sarah who staying with us, or we're staying with her.
Yeah, we're staying with her.
She booked the room.
Lucky.
She, like, it's a little fast for her. It's probably closer to marathon pace, but like, it was still not too fast for a 5K. That's the great thing with a 5K. You can kind of do anything. Yeah. You can run with anybody.
Yeah,
yeah. It doesn't
and like,
have to be.
it can just be like kind of, you know, it can be its own thing. And she actually kept that same pace for her full half marathon today, which is really incredible.
Yes, very, very proud of her.
So after the 5K, we worked the packet pickup at Phidippides, which is the running store. And it is the cutest little store ever. And Eric is the manager there, and we are working out a partnership where Run Galloway Girls and Phidippides will have some kind of partnership. So we're so excited about this. It is coming where you guys are going to get some benefits if you order running gear through Phidippides.
Yeah,
so
we'll get you a discount code.
We're
something.
So excited.
And by the way, Phidippides, Jeff started this store in 1973. It's the first. It was the first
running specialty store
in America and in the world. But like, yeah, that's a pretty amazing feat.
Jeff Galloway is responsible for the running boom in America. Like,
yes.
He really is. And the run, walk, run method, I think we've talked about this before, came about because he was saying, like, anybody can run. I can coach anybody. I can coach anybody. And people were showing up with no experience
to the group runs,
to the group runs. And he was like, well, we can't just start with running. So he would start with these run walk. And he'd noticed that people who started with run walk after 6 weeks would have no injuries, whereas like traditional runners would have kind of, you know, injuries that kind of creep up after starting a program about week 6. Or so if you're noticing, if you have been running for a while and you have any injuries popping up, swapping even just one of your runs, one of your easy runs for a run walk session can really drastically decrease your injury risk profile.
Yeah, swapping out your easy runs. Like if it's just where, okay, I'm going to do my hard runs or my workouts the way that I've always done them, the way that my coach has me doing them.
Yeah.
But on my easy days, hey, you know, I'm supposed to do 30 minutes. I'm supposed to do 45 or an hour, whatever it is. Why not think about it? Just think about, like, what if you just swapped it out and did a run walk and just see how that feels.
Absolutely. And we love these short intervals, but you, Coach Chris Twiggs says that people are either a Tigger or an Eeyore, which I thought was so cute.
So perfect.
And Tiggers like really short intervals and like kind of bounce through really fast. And like Eeyores just kind of like the little bit longer intervals, and they will keep the same pace though. And we were kind of talking how there might be more Winnie the Pooh profiles in there. Like there might also be like the rabbit. The rabbit is the one who's like regimented, super talented, but like is afraid to like really like put their guts on the line. You know?
And like what it kind of equates to, it's like with a Tigger versus an Eeyore, like the shorter intervals, like it might feel choppy if you don't have that, like if you don't have that natural where you can just like spring from run to walk and get back to your speed as quickly. Right. And so you might feel like, well, it took me that entire 30 seconds or 60 or 90 seconds to get to my run speed, and then I had to stop again. Or
if your natural run speed is like your natural run speed is a 7:20, like we did a 60-30 2 hour. And the 2 hour pace group, well, we were 1:57, spoiler alert. And the 2 hour pace group did a 2:30. So their run speed was probably more like 8 flat than our 7:20, because I mean, we walked 1/3 of the time during this race.
Of the total time.
Which is crazy to think that we walked 1/3 of the time and ran sub 2 hours, which is just amazing.
Yeah, so that's like 40 minutes of the entire like time, which is insane how much walking we were able to do. And so Atlanta was hillier than I thought it was going to be.
Atlanta has so many hills. So we definitely had hills for breakfast. Don't worry, with our margaritas, we had tacos for lunch. But we had hills for breakfast. It was so hilly.
But, yes.
So hilly. I mean, I should have remembered, like I talked about it yesterday. Oh, the Piedmont. Like, and then
literally means, it's French for like foot of the mountains.
Yeah.
So we're at the foot of the mountains. We're at the, we're at the beginning of the Appalachians.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's hard to realize though, because this city, like you're in this really hip, fun city. Oh my God, Atlanta's so fun.
So fun. And we saw none of the fun except all the run.
Oh, the run.
We loved it.
Fun.
The run was so fun.
It's like every other block up and down a hill. But so what was great with the 60/30s is that it gave us the ability to do a lot of run through, walk through, whatever we need, course based. So
we did course-based intervals, which is where you kind of take your 60/30, and you can't do it if you're doing a 4 and 30. You can't do a run through as much because you really need to take, you really need to take those walk breaks when they're supposed to happen. But with, say, I would say probably as big as like a 2 and 30, you could do kind of a course base. So all you do is if you're coming up on a super great downhill and your walk beeps, you just push pause. And then you run down to the bottom of the hill and then you take your walk. And then on uphills, if you're coming up and you have a run, you can go, oh, I actually banked a walk break. I'm going to take 2 walk breaks in a row. Or like we did some, because we had 60/30 set where we would do a 45-second run and a 45-second walk, and it would still fall within that time frame. So we were very course-based to get today. And in fact, we had a killer mile in there.
It was this downhill.
It was incredible. And it was an 8:08 at mile 11.
Yeah. And really, again, it was very course-based. So we're also like conscious, we're not trying to bank, we were never trying to bank time. We had set out, we had done, so 2 weeks ago we did a 10 miler with 60/30s, not knowing where that would land us. But we thought
it would be sub 130.
We thought it was doable. We said, okay, if we can do sub 130, that's amazing. It wasn't like an expectation though. And so then for this race, we kind of put it as an expectation of like, oh yeah, we're going to do a 60/30 sub 2, which again, like the pace groups and most traditional Galloway runners are running 2 minutes and 30, which is an awesome, awesome pace. Yeah. So it was like, I was biting my nails over it. It was making me very nervous.
I knew we could do it. I knew we could do it. Like I really did. Blind confidence and nothing concrete to back it up. Just positive, optimistic, blind confidence. Well,
so when we had like a couple of course based, like we had a couple of 8:30s in there, and we said, that's okay. That gives us like 39 seconds.
Yeah.
If a mile comes up later with a big hill in it, we have lots of time.
We get to walk the whole thing. Like, I was really thinking, like, of course, I think at one point we had like 60 seconds. And I was like, Naomi's like, oh, we can run 9:15s the rest of the way. I was like, or we can run a 10-minute mile. Like, we're an 11-minute mile. Here I was like wanting to take it all at once.
And because
that's just who I am. I'm like, I would like that whole recovery mile.
Yeah, and at one of the miles, we had run out of water. We brought our bottles with us because we just like to carry our bottles.
I love water.
Comfort.
There you go.
So one of the miles, we ended up, we went to the water stop and we opened up our bottles and filled up our bottles.
Yeah, we like stopped and
it was like a full minute.
Yeah.
And we stood there for a full minute and we did not lose time. We ended up, we walked away from the water stop and our average pace for that lap was now a 10:07. And then somehow, miraculously, by end of the mile, we were still at like a 9:07 or whatever it was. Yeah. 9:10. So like, you can take breaks. You can. Yeah. Nate used the potty.
Nate
took a pit stop.
Oh, that's amazing.
His sub 2 today, which
that's incredible. Yeah. So actually, in my BQ at CIM at 3:32, I took a 2 minute and 30 second potty stop. That's a lot. I had a 9:45 mile in the first 3 miles. So you can absolutely, there's plenty of time to take a break in a half marathon and in a full. I would say in a 10 miler even. I'd say it can get a little hairy in the 10K or in the 5K. Like, I've definitely dropped out of a 5K before because I had to use the bathroom. I was like,
you don't want to waste, like,
there goes my time.
Yeah, like, that's minutes. But yeah, you always tell me, and you always, like, your mantra is like, we've got time.
I think I said it out on the course today. I was like, we've got time. We have nothing but time.
Yeah, especially early out when we're just not sure. We're like, okay, let's not take this out too fast.
Yeah.
So this course, Jeff's course here, the half marathon starts, and you start with a pretty nice downhill. So like, you start off running, you got this big downhill, and you want to be careful though that you do not
take it out too fast.
Take all those downhills out too fast, especially that first downhill in the first mile. That gets me sometimes.
Well, and it starts with like this like tiny little downhill, and then this uphill, and then this nice big downhill.
Yeah.
And so you've got like, but you have a positive gain at the end of this race. So this is not for the faint of heart. This is not a race that I would say you should
come in specifically to PR necessarily, right? Unless your fitness is just like amazing.
Or you're really, really great on hills. If hills is something you do, if you haven't run a half marathon in a while, I would say you could probably PR on this course. If let's say it's been a while since you've run a half and you know that your fitness has improved, you're gonna run a good time on this course, and it's a great, great race. It's incredible, but it's also a challenge, and so it's a great race to kind of put in like we've done in the middle of a marathon training cycle, because it's such a good challenge. And hills can help build your aerobic capacity and your strength with less like pressure and impact on your legs. I want to say it's like 60% less running up a hill than running flat. Now, downhill, you're then going to take that pounding. But in the same vein that this course is super good for training, this course is fantastic for training for a net downhill marathon like we are.
You can burn out burn your quads out a little bit.
You get to practice those like really steep downhills, because it's got some great steep downhills.
Yeah. And hills pay the bills. So yeah, like, don't be afraid of some hills. Like, don't be afraid. Again, there's races where you're thinking, I'm setting out, I want a PR. Okay, I'm gonna go pick a flat course. Yeah. I don't know. Personally, for me, I find I do better on rollers.
Yeah,
so
you need variation in your course.
I do. So everybody's different. And so maybe for you, it's not about going and finding the flattest course. Or maybe, but this is a tricky course, but it's a great...
I would say most people don't go out and like run like 5 or 6 half marathons a year like we used to. Like, most people do just pick one a cycle. Yeah. And I think this would be a great one for those people to pick. I think this would be a great one to add for those of you who like to do a lot of half marathons, or like us, like sticking it in for like as a training race.
Yeah, and if you're not from Georgia, then you're checking off another state on your list if you're hoping to get like to your 50 states goal.
Plus, let me tell you, there's so much access to Jeff Galloway this race weekend.
Yes.
It was amazing. So obviously he's at the 5K. He's at Packet Pickup at the store. He's at the 5K. He does meet and greets. He's there.
He does talks.
He does talks. He's there at the finish line. Inside, he does
photos. He does photos with everybody. You can stop and take a photo. He did the countdown for the start this morning, which was so awesome. Hearing him over the loudspeaker after the national anthem.
He's like, I felt so bad because it was so cold.
It was so cold. I'm glad they put him inside. I'm sure on a hot weekend because some weekends it might be 80 in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm sure some of those weekends he's outside of the finish, but like they had him inside away from the wind. And like, he had, got not a huge line, but he got a little bit of line, so people are waiting to take their picture with Jeff, which is so awesome. And while
it was cold, it was a great day for PRs. So our friend Nate got his sub 2, which is so incredible.
Yes.
Carissa Galloway got her sub 2. I don't know if she's done that before either, but I know she got it today.
I think it's been a little while.
Okay, that was her goal today. It was really, really awesome. So, and they both ran with the pace group. And that's the other thing that's so incredible is the Galloway Pacers here at Jeff's race. And I think, so this year the pace groups were about every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And we've still had to look at the total number. Did we see the total number?
550. It's a smaller field, but the cold, I think, sent some people home.
Right. I think there were originally 2,000 signed up.
There were a lot of people registered who did not pick up their packets yesterday because we worked the last shift. And there were a lot of bibs at the end of the day. I think people got scared by the cold.
So, and with the option to go virtual, that's also really great. So I think next year we should try to have 4,000 people.
Yes.
And I bet if we have 4,000 people, I bet we can get pace groups.
More pace groups.
5 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Because that would be really incredible, because I know that there's a big difference between 2 hours and 2:15. Like having a 2:05 and a 2:10 would be really incredible. Right. Or maybe split the difference, a 2:08 pace group.
Yeah, right in between 1:45 and 2 hours, they could have another pacer.
Like a 150, a 155, and is like
that'd be a great goal. And the Pacers, by the way, are amazing. And yes, they're Galloway Pacers here. So that's really amazing. And like Pacers everywhere are incredible. But
what's so cool is most of the Pacers here, at least one of them is a Galloway program leader. And so what that means, chapter leaders. So they run a program in their city where you can actually go and run with Galloway people and train together. And so you can look and see if there's a Galloway program in your city that you can join. We're also going to try to figure out, working with Jeff and Weston and Chris Twiggs and everybody, to try to set up different ways that people can participate Galloway and not feel like a little Galloway Island by themselves, because
find people who can run it with you. Yeah, that's like half of it. And that's what's so nice about this weekend. Even if you are training alone, if you come to like a Galloway event like this, you get to meet all the other Gallowayers. Yeah. You get to meet all the other Galloways, run with them at the 5K and the half, and like hang out at the after parties and the pickup.
And if you're listening and you're not a Galloway runner, don't worry. There were plenty of straight runners out there, and we passed a ton of you. I'm just kidding.
It was a surprising number. I felt like there were
a lot of straight runners, especially up in our pace range.
Yeah.
But we were really like picking people off. Especially like mile 5, 6, like right before the 10K. Like I was surprised at how many straight runners we kind of like passed and then didn't see again.
Yeah, in that flat zone.
Yeah, we got like a new group of people around us.
Yeah. And then
like the guy with the shirt, that it was so cute. So like he wasn't like, we like passed into this new group, and he had the shirt that says, "I'm a nervous Rex," and it was like
it was a Toy Story
from Toy Story, which was so cute.
Yeah, it was a raw thread shirt. It was so cute. Yeah, so there were a lot of straight runners and then a lot of Galloway runners, and I felt like it was just,
the course was open for like 4.5 hours, which was amazing.
They had the walking division.
Yeah.
And 5K also had a walking division.
And what was so cool too, they have a relay, and there were definitely some people who did the relay where they'd stack their faster runners at the beginning.
Yes.
And I was like, that is so cool.
That's so smart. So yeah, you can have two people of different abilities, different speeds, run together and do the relay. And that way, and plus like, I don't know, 6.7 also sounds like a great distance to me some days.
Well, I think the relay was 3 or 4 people. Like,
okay. So you could do it with a group
or multiple stops for the relay.
Oh, okay, nice.
It was more than just half. Yeah.
Nice.
Because there was a relay tag inside the park where they only did 2.1 miles.
Well, that would be fun with like a family, like get the kids involved and like, Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to get Lila on our running team.
Yes, I know. There's all kinds of plans for next
we could also tag her in and then just stay with her to the end.
Yeah, I think she's going to have to do the 5K next year. It's so fun. And it was family-friendly weekend, too. They had, so on Saturday, they were making green slime.
And cookie decorating.
Yeah, decorate your own cookie. So there's a lot going on for the kids, too. So it was a great little...
There was a lot going on.
A great little getaway weekend. Like, we did as a girls' weekend, which was great, because we got to, like,
I almost think that, like, there was a little too much going on at times. I was like, man, this is really jam-packed.
Yes.
It was so much to do. I think if there was a little less to do, maybe we would have been even more rested.
We would be relaxed and rested. Jeff wouldn't have had to work so hard. Because like he's literally meeting and greeting and signing books until like the wee hours.
And speaking of books, we got a bunch of Jeff's books that we'll be talking about on the podcast. We got the frequently asked questions about the marathon, so we're definitely excited to tackle each one of those. It was 100, right?
Well, they're not just like a marathon, they're like training questions too.
Oh, perfect.
So like, I messed up, like I ran my long run today, what do I do, or I'm gonna run my long run a different week, and like all the little questions that you might come up. So we'll tackle those questions.
And then so we'll kind of like go through that whole book throughout the podcast, and then we also got running training injuries and how to avoid them. And Jeff inscribed it, and he said, I hope you never have to deal with any of these.
So sweet.
It's the best.
So sweet.
But I think it's such a good book to have
as a resource.
Kind of understand like where the injuries are coming from and the physiology behind the injuries, and then how to prevent it. And I was like chatting, I was very into selling running shoes yesterday when we were at the store. And I was chatting up all the different types of shoes and why people would wear them and what they were all about. And in fact, that leads us to Naomi and Sarah both wore brand new shoes today at the race.
So we're at Finippity's yesterday for packet pickup. We have to work a few hours, and there's there's times where there's not people coming in because they all had picked up either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And it got slow. So we're like, let's go sell shoes. Let's go try on shoes. And so we were literally like trying on shoes we've never worn. Liz was like, try these on. These are the Saucony Endorphin Speed. So that's
and they have a nylon plate instead of a carbon fiber plate. And the Speed 2 is very similar to the original Speed. And it's a very snappy, responsive shoe. And Sarah got it at a huge discount because the Speed 3 is out. And Naomi tried on the Speed 3. She got them for like
$85 or something.
Yeah.
And so the Speed 3, the new one, I tried on. I was like, these feel awesome. They feel like little bouncy trampolines. And again, kind of excited. It's a nylon plate because I don't want to overdo the carbon. Yeah. And like wear carbon all the time. And so this morning when we got dressed, I like put them on. I was like, these feel good. And I ran in them.
And no insoles.
I did not put in my custom insoles. They have arch support in them.
Yeah.
The Endorphin Speeds have like a pretty significant arch built in. And I did not, like even putting my insoles actually made it feel flatter. And they felt really supportive without my insoles. Yeah. Which also made them feel lighter because my insoles make shoes heavier.
Right. And so they're kind of a nice bouncy shoe and just really like cushy and built up, but super quick and responsive. They are speedy, just like they say they are. So they're a great shoe for a half marathon. They're a great shoe for even for a 5K. They're just really, really great. There's one more in the Endorphin level. And I can't remember.
The trainer, and it's the Endorphin. So there's the Speed, the Pro, the Elite, and then the trainer's called the, I can't think of it now.
I can't remember either, but that one does not have any plate in it.
No plate.
It's got a plastic heel. It's very stiff though too.
And so, I mean, like these, our run pace, it varied quite a bit depending on where we were.
Based on the hills. Oh, do the overlay of the elevation. There you go.
But like,
that'll tell you why.
We were doing, a lot of the time our run speed was in the...
Oh, you can't see it if you do the overlay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I'm looking at, and it's like 7:16, 7:17, 7...
I don't know why it's Yeah, we were pretty on spot with our 720. So like, and then down big hills, we go down to like 701. And it also looks like through each 60 interval, we got faster as the interval went on, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Like, it's always nice to kind of finish your interval on a high note versus slow down. If you're massively slowing down through your run interval, you're probably running for too long.
You should think about cropping your intervals short. But so it's cool is like even those shoes, like even though they're not a carbon and they're not the high, like again there's like they have a carbon they have two levels of carbon with that model, and then a level that's just a nylon, and then another level, and this one still felt very fast. You can still run some 7:15, 7:20 pace.
Kind of interesting though, they do run a half to a full size small.
Yes, so you want to size up.
Both Sarah and Naomi generally run in a 9.5. They both tried on 9.5s. They were too small.
Yep.
They went up to, now they didn't have 10s in the store, so I just brought them 10.5s for both.
They felt great.
They both wore the 10.5s. We're like, these feel amazing. They both ran in them today. The sizing is fine. We actually compared them to the 10.5 Kinvara, and there's a noticeable, especially between the 2 and the 3, or the 2 and the Kinvara, it's a full size difference.
It's like a centimeter
the
longer.
The 2 was definitely the 9.5. I would say the 3, the Endorphin Speed 3, is probably closer to a 10 versus you know what I mean? Like,
yes, yeah, they're like a little more close in size.
Yeah.
So I mean, that comes back to like, you might want to go to a store and try on your shoes instead of just ordering. But if you know what you like and you can order, or you want to try a shoe in a one that you haven't seen before, try going to Finippity's website, Jeff's website, and ordering a pair of the shoes that you want. Because he actually has the pricing are $10 less.
We were so surprised.
Than like our other normal big box stores that we order from.
Yeah. So I was shocked. I was really, really shocked.
Yeah.
I actually picked up another pair of Kinvara. They're the Kinvara 13s, which I only have one pair of the Kinvara 13s, and they're my Bostons. So all the other ones that I've been running in are still Kinvara 12s, and the 14 just launched. So
yeah, and amazingly, everything was like $10 less at Jeff's store without any discount. And like we said, we'll get you guys some kind of discount for pod discount.
It's coming. Definitely coming. And so the race today, did not remember to film during the race. We barely were ready to start the race when it started.
We left our room, got right to the start, dropped off bags.
I know. I was still futzing around with something when they were like, runners, get ready. Whoa. And I was like, oh gosh, I need to put my gloves on.
Yeah, putting away your phone.
Yeah.
Because we were back in the room trying on different shoes.
Yeah.
What am I going to say?
So the race, we kind of took it out. I was personally a little nervous when we were running. I was a little nervous until we were on the path around mile 4. I was very nervous until we were down in that section because I just didn't know if I was going to be able to keep it up. I was very winded, even though my heart rate wasn't super high, just from the cold air.
Yeah.
So,
and again, it was it's this is not an easy effort. We knew that was going to go. That was the case going into this.
But I felt much better as the race went on.
Yeah.
And there is this incredible, for all the hills, there's the best downhill right before you go down into the park. That was our 808 mile.
Such a long downhill.
So good. It was, if I could just run down that hill, if that hill was just infinity and I just got to run down it and never had to run up it, it would be the best.
That must be where we hit our fastest pace of 6:33. It must be somewhere in that.
Oh, yeah. I looked at our watch. I was like, we're going really fast.
But yeah, this. So this was a replacement for, we had 10 by 1 mile repeats on the schedule this weekend. And I kept saying that to Liz. I was like, this is way better than going to the track.
That was our other mantra. This is better than 10 by 1.
Because how much more fun is it to go do a race, go do a destination race?
Yeah.
And but again, making sure you're not necessarily racing it. We didn't race it.
No.
It started to hurt probably at mile 12, I feel like.
So it's funny because we didn't race. And so our overall time was 1:57:40.
1:57:24 is our official.
Oh.
My watch had 1:57:20.
Oh,
but our official on the chip time was 1:57:24.
Okay, that's incredible. So
2.5 minutes under goal.
1:57:24. While that was not a race, I think had we raced it, probably the best effort we could have done here would not be that much faster.
Right. Maybe a 1:54, 1:53.
1:54, 1:55, somewhere in there. There were little spaces, little parts where we could have pushed, but I think the payoff, I think it would have been really, really difficult still, even in the park at the end. Although I don't know.
So that was kind of a downside. Although the park is so pretty,
it was worth it. 100%.
But it did we kind of had a net uphill from miles for that last section when we go into the park. But overall, though, the city is so cute. There's so many houses and there's just so much scenery to look at
and variation in the course too.
Yeah.
So you're on bike path, you're on roads, you're on kind of highway, you're on
a rail to
trail. You're down a major road, in neighborhoods. You're down little neighborhood roads.
You're on a parkway, the parkway and the Beltline. So the John Lewis Parkway and then the Beltline were super duper flat, and those were in the middle.
Yeah.
But there were hills bookending the course in the city and then in Piedmont Park, and so but they were so scenic and pretty, the buildings and the all the houses. I love all the neighborhoods.
And you pass this restaurant called Barbacoa, and it smelled so good.
Or taco, whatever it was. Barbacoa. Smelled so good.
It smelled really, really good. And usually smells on the course make Naomi vomit. And
I was like, that smells delicious.
It smelled so good. Well, that was also something we did a little differently. It was a half marathon, and we did 3 Martins and some shoes today, which
we fueled. We fueled well. I set out, so I'll bring 3 Martins on a half marathon, and I'll end up eating 2 of them. And so today we were probably not even into 2 miles yet, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to start fueling." And I think I've even maybe
had a couple shoes,
2 shoes at the start,
and I took a Martin early. I took a Martin, I think, in mile 1.
Yeah, and so we decided we're gonna fuel properly. We're gonna make that our part of our job today is to fuel properly, because again, you cannot do this. You cannot run these paces or any paces without proper fuel. And
if you want to still be strong at the end of these races, you've got to fuel. You can't get to 10 miles and go, oh, it's only 3 left and I'm not going to take a gel. No. We were at 10 miles. We're it's time for a Martin. Let's go.
Yes, exactly. Even though we're at 10 miles, sometimes I'll just leave it in my pocket. And today I almost, because I couldn't get my fingers to get into my pocket because they were numb.
Yeah.
But I managed to get that Martin out and eat it at mile 10.
We were even saying yesterday we wish we had fuel on the 5K course.
Yeah.
Because it was like a little bit of a walk to get to it.
We walked about 2 miles before the race because we had to go pick up our packets. We were kind of, we had a lot to do. Yeah. But I'm reading Endure, Alex Hutchinson, which came out in 2018. I know I'm late to the game. But he talks about fuel and how like the human body is a furnace. And we create a lot of heat. And so what are we creating heat with? Well, with what we eat. So it's an unfortunate side effect is that we're heating up while we run, or maybe it's fortunate when it's 27 degrees out. But
Definitely
you're
fortunate.
essentially what the ratio is that we're using, like per every 100 calories we consume, we're using 25 calories to actually fuel ourselves, and 75 calories are creating heat, radiant heat.
Oh my gosh. Well, that was good today because it was
we needed some heat.
Cold.
It was so cold.
But it was weird. So at times we were like, oh, it's very hot. And then the wind would blow and we were like, nope, not hot. Very good.
I swear the sun feels hotter down here. That's why they call it Hotlanta. Like the sun, I feel like we're closer to the equator or something, because the sun, when it would come out, even though it was 27 degrees, the sun felt so warm.
It did. It
even on, very like my legs would get warm, but it was
awesome.
Yeah.
It was just great. Like
and weather's a gamble.
Like, I feel so accomplished too. Like I feel like very, very good. Like this feels like really like my first race back since the pandemic. Like like the first race where I've done like something that like I feel good about. Like even though I did Boston, that's so funny in 2022.
Because you haven't worked really hard in those other races.
Yeah.
And it's like because you chose not to, and that's okay too. But like we had to work.
Although I feel
a little
like
bit. It still
body wise, I feel the same as I did if I ran a marathon like I did in Boston. Like
it actually didn't feel that bad.
Right, because like the efforts were kind of probably pretty similar, like an easier marathon versus what we did today and a half. Like very, very similar. Still not at like peak effort.
Yeah, oh, not at all. So. Like we still didn't race it. I felt really good. Yeah. Like to the point of like being like, you were like, we should, slow it down. Like you didn't want me to go out and too fast.
There were times like, because I knew the end would like,
we'd have to save something for the end.
So, and I just knew like, we gotta like keep it reined in. Have time. Like that's kind of the trick of the half is like, you don't want to make your move before mile 10 or 11. Like you want to make your move right about mile 10 in a half marathon. It's just like in a full marathon, they say it's a 20-mile warm-up with a 10K race. Yeah. I even think it's more like a 23.1 with a 5K race at the end.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get hard.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's really a half marathon. You can't make your move too early. You can't make your move at mile 7, 8, or 9 because it's just like that's too soon. It's got to feel chill before then.
And a lot of times there's a couple ways it'll go. You'll either go out too fast, mile 1, 2, or way too fast, or that's where I will, mile 6, 7, 8, I will be starting to feel so good. And that's when, but you got to be careful because you still have a long way to go.
You'll still burn too hot.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have never regretted starting a race slow. I have regretted starting too fast, but I've never, and there are times to be fair, there have been some races where I'm like, I took that out fast and I'm so glad I did.
Right. That was the strategy, or that was like go out fast and hold on as hard as you can. Sometimes that's the strategy.
That was definitely my strategy in Chicago 2017 because
the weather.
It was supposed to get really hot. And so I texted with Jeff and I was like, listen, like, I'm not going to be able to run a negative split tomorrow. It's going to, like, at this time, it's going to be this temperature, but I'm going to have about 2 hours of decent weather. So I was like, what do you think if I go out and try to PR the half marathon and then hold on? And he was like, sounds great, Liz, go for it.
Which is like a crazy plan.
But I'm not sure Jeff would say that to just any runner. Like, that's like definitely, he knows me. He knows that my hold on is not like die to a 205. My hold on is like run a 155 or at the time. So he knew like, okay, if she can just hold on, she'll be fine. Like it's not die to, you know, it's really the difference, I think, more between, well, at the time, it was like the difference between an 8:15 and a 8:50 versus a difference between an 8:15 and an 11.
Right, like most people, when you know, if you go out too fast, you're going to die pretty hard, and you're going to be in those, you know, 3-4 minutes slower than you thought,
right,
or than you were at the beginning. So it's, yeah, there's always, you got to really think about strategy, and there is no such thing as like starting too slow. And you have
to know your own body too. Yes. Yeah. That's the point of it.
With the half or a full,
with
half time.
Even with a 10 miler or 10K, you've got a little bit of time. I've never regretted starting slower. I have regretted going out faster more times than I haven't. Like, definitely depends on weather as far as like the race strategy. I even think on a hot day, like, I don't think I'd ever regret going out slower and just chilling and having a fun time.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
I mean, because it's fun to run. And if it's not fun, then don't go. Don't show up. If you're not having fun, like, take a break. Like, don't run the race. If you're dreading it and you're like, this isn't going to be fun, I'm not going to have fun, I won't like this.
Then it's not. Then you shouldn't go.
Then waste the entry and find something that you are excited about.
Yeah. And most of the time it's going to be the opposite, where we show up and the excitement, we want to like burst off the starting line.
I'm just so excited that we were able to hit our goal, because it was pretty crazy to put that out there. And like, it's not just crazy that we set it, right? So we set this goal of a 60-30 sub-2. We set it. And then we told everyone we were going to do it.
Yeah, we put it on the pod is how we said it.
And we're like, we're going to do it. We're going to be amazing.
We spitballed it on the pod. We didn't set it and say, I think this is a good idea. We were on the pod and just said, maybe we could do that. And then all of a sudden we're telling everybody that we can do it. We're doing it. There's no going back. And there's two sides to that. Sometimes it's great to put your goals out there, because then you have, first of all, you have everyone cheering for you. And they're like, you know, everyone knows that, like, yes, you're doing this and I'm going to come root for you. And then there's also the other side of, like, you put it out there, and if you don't make your goal, it might really disappoint you. So,
but here's the thing. If you don't make your goal, it might really disappoint you. However, everybody who's rooting for you, what they're going to say,
so proud of you.
What they're going to say is, I was rooting for you, and I bet you can do it next time.
Yeah.
Right? And so remember that when you're afraid to share your goals, just remember, it's how you choose to look at it is how it is looked at. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what other people are judging, right? Because I like to tell everybody my goals all the time, because here's what happens. If I say, I'm going to go do this, and then people ask me like 3 or 4 months later, how's it going? I go, you know, thanks for the reminder. I haven't been working on that for a while, but you reminding me of it, like, reminds me that I need to get back to work on it. Or my other answer is, you know, I've actually pivoted. Here's what I'm working on now.
Right.
There's no negativity in either of those statements.
That's true.
It's just a friendly reminder. Like, there's no judgment. Like, most of the time, judgment is perceived internally due to rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and not actually due to other people's intentions.
Most of the time, nobody cares about your finish times except you. Yeah. And so you're the only one who's putting this lens on it and being all like, you know, if I don't do X, like, no one would have cared.
Nobody cares what times you run at all. No. Unless you post all your times and all your runs are like 11-minute miles, and then all of a sudden you drop some like sub-4 marathon.
Like, how did you do that?
Like, how did you, like, coming out of the woodwork going, how did you do that? Yeah. I've been watching your training paces. I have no idea. Like, I've been trying to do that. How did you do it? And I'm like, yeah, but you're running 9-minute miles. You're just running. You got to run slower.
You got to slow down. Yeah. So
it's the best.
It's great. And it's just really, you know, you can, it's a personal thing. Like, keep your goals to yourself or put them out in the universe. And if you put them out in the universe, there's more likelihood that you're going to get them. And if you don't,
I think there is definitely something to saying it and attraction, like putting it out there with blind confidence, and you can be like, I'm going to get this eventually. And when you don't do it, like, I'm a step closer because I'm gonna get it eventually. Like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
when we were talking to Nate today, I mean, he's been working on a sub-2 for like more than, I mean, I don't know if he said it was 10 years or it was at least 5 years. It's years.
Gosh.
It's not something that.
And watch the next time he runs a half, he runs like 151 or something ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. He said, he literally said today, he was like, you know what? It's like Roger Bannister. I just have to know I'm capable of it.
Yeah.
And then I break that barrier down. And so that's how it is for a lot of people. And he's 42.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you're going to get older and slower by default. Like you can certainly tap into it, and you can also
faster as a master.
Yeah. And you can just believe in yourself and work towards it, and it's still going to come true at some point.
And
so
I got to tell you,
don't give up on it.
I got to tell you, time goals are not everything. Sometimes you got to go out there and figure out a different goal and just have fun. I'm so glad that we were able to do the 60-30 PR, which we're calling it a PR. Because that's what it feels like to us. It feels like a personal record. Even though we were looking, Naomi's half PR is a 141.
141.43, I think.
And mine's a 142 flat.
Right.
So those are our actual PRs.
More than 15 minutes faster than today. And yet.
But today feels like a bigger celebration.
Yeah, it does. Because it was something that we didn't know if we could achieve. In the way we did it.
Fitness, in the way that we did it, on a hard course.
Yes, all of those factors.
It feels like a comeback PR. It really does.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
It hurt and it smelled bad.
No, it's real. So it's just really exciting. And again, putting it, if your time goals or your maybe again it's time per decade, time per this, that, the other. It doesn't have to be
reset your goals with every birthday.
Right.
Or reset your PRs for every birthday.
Or do it differently. Look at how can I do this differently? And so that's what we're doing right now.
Oh, it's so fun. But back to Jeff's half, I definitely recommend this. I would recommend this half to any and everyone. There's so many hotels, so it's so easy to get by.
Yes.
Midtown is where it starts, so you're able to
it's convenient.
Stay right by the start line.
We were less than 2 blocks from the start this morning.
An easy walk back from the park.
Yeah.
After the race, and the park is so beautiful. Had it been warmer, we probably would have hung out outside at the park.
Sit in the grass.
But the VIP experience has an amazing indoor area, so that's definitely worth it too.
And really yummy food.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then there's an indoor area that anybody can stand in too, where you can see Jeff and get your pictures done. It was just so great. And there were so many great snacks. Many great snacks at the end of the race. Now, I really did need a chip stop at mile 7 or 8.
We're going to have to start just bringing chips. Every run, it's going to be chips.
Although, there was 1 mile marker sign, and I'm sure it was just misplaced on accident. There was 1 mile marker sign that was misplaced. And I was it was at 6.5 instead of 7. It was the 7 mile marker. And I was like, should we go get it? Should we bring it to where it's supposed to be?
No.
And I was like, oh gosh.
And that happens in in a lot of races, but overall though, it's a great.
But GPS worked amazing here too. Surprising for a city run.
Yeah, we did a long course.
Perfect GPS. Yeah. But I mean, that's what you expect from Jeff Galloway. You expect a perfectly measured race. Yeah. Because he is an Olympian. This matters.
That's another thing. So the Olympic torch from the 1986 Atlanta Games is in Jeff's store.
So cool.
Jeff's kit that he raced in the Munich, right? The Munich Olympics in 72 is in the store.
Yeah.
The Atlanta Track Club is the second to New York Road Runners, the second largest running club in the country. I mean, Atlanta just is a running hub.
Yeah.
It's a running hub. So it's a great destination if you are just if you love the running community and you want to check it out.
We're considering the Peachtree
race. We've got to do
not
Peachtree.
This year because you'll be on vacation.
Yeah.
But the Peachtree 10 miler at some point.
10K. It's the biggest 10K in the country. I've wanted to do it for years.
Yeah.
It is 4th of July, so I'm worried about the heat, but it's got to be an experience to to see because of the sheer. I mean, it used to be 65,000 runners.
That's crazy.
That's an insane number of people. So it's just Atlanta's a great. I mean, they do the Olympic trials here.
A lot of super shoes.
Yes.
I was actually thinking about the Trials Marathon and all the hills. Could you imagine coming to do the Olympic Trials Marathon here with all of those hills?
I know.
After getting an OTQ at a place like CIM, a net downhill with small
That's
rollers.
probably why they do it here because then it cuts out all the, people can't cut it. You got to be able to handle some crazy hills.
You know who I bet can handle it? Like, really, like, I know that she just did, I know that, like, you know, she's getting older because she's closer to our age, but, like, I bet Kira D'Amato could, like, crush this course.
Oh, Kira, yeah.
Like, I know, she did run it here, right?
Did she? Yeah, I think she did. She must have.
But, like, then she got in even better shape.
Because she broke the record at Houston. So, I don't know. That was in January.
I don't know. So, we'll have to look that up.
But
we'll have to look that up. But, like, this is, like, crushing. And she runs really fast in Richmond. So.
Yeah. The hills are reminiscent of, like, Richmond, but even more hills. And you were saying Raleigh.
It's like Raleigh. Like, so I ran the first year and the second year of the Rock and Roll Raleigh. And this course reminded me a lot of, like, running through, like, you run through, like, the neighborhoods in NC State. It really reminded me of that. So
yeah, and it's just, I love scenic courses like this. It's so pretty, like, to run around the city and to see a different place.
Yeah.
And to see a city in a
different way.
Check off a state. And see a city, like, we see it from, like, you know, the Uber, but we like to see it on foot. It's super cool.
It's the best way to tour a new city is on foot, for sure.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at the course before the race. I was a little concerned about course cutters. But I don't think that there were any, because it was, while you're actually out there, you don't notice that there's a place to cut the course, which is really nice. It's so disheartening when you're out there and you're seeing the fast runners come back at you or things like that. And this way, it was just, it was really, really great. And they had 5K, 10K, and 15K splits, which was really nice.
Yes. Yeah, they have this split so that they're, you know, there's timing mats, which means that, like, it's less likely people are course cutting. And and you didn't have too many, like, you didn't really have any out and backs. You saw people on the other side, like, a little bit from a distance. So once in a while we try to glimpse over, is a 2-hour group over there? We're looking for our friends. And so other than that, though, like, it didn't feel like you were running the same location more than once.
Right. And so it didn't feel, like, monotonous at all.
Nope.
It was amazing.
It was all different. The entire, like, you felt like you were really seeing different areas of the city. So.
Yeah. So, well, with that, I think that's our recap. We're probably going to have more to say, but, like, I'm feeling a little fatigued at the moment.
It's been a long couple of days in Atlanta.
Couple of days, but we're so excited that we were able to come and run here. So happy and thrilled, and we hope that next year you will join us in Atlanta to run this race again. But you can also still get the amazing medals, and you can run this race virtually on a flat course instead,
wherever you want,
or you can find a hilly course.
And the shirts are really nice.
The shirts are amazing. They're so soft.
The medals are huge, and the double G, if you do both, it spins. It's so cute.
It's so great. It's definitely amazing. The shirts are the best race shirts I have ever gotten.
They are, so why we love them so much, they're cotton.
They're poly cotton blends.
They're poly cotton.
But they're not, like, they're technical.
No, they're cozy and soft. And, like, we'll wear them all the time, shirts. So that's awesome.
And, like, you could probably still run in them. Like, Sarah actually, because it was cold, she wore a base layer underneath and ran in one of the Phidippides store long sleeve
like a poly cotton blend. So so you go to jeffgalloway131.com and use code ambassador23 to get 10% off.
And you can still register for the virtual. And remember, like, your registration or donation goes to help keeping this race going. And it needs to keep going, because this was, I mean, this rivals Disney as far as an experience. And Disney is big and has a lot of, like, awesome things. But this is just, it's so for runners.
It is. It was the running
What?
community.
This is exactly what the rest of runners want their marathon to be.
Exactly.
For
runners,
by runners, for runners. It is everything you want as a runner.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're obviously, like, a Galloway fan, it gives you the accessibility to come meet Jeff.
Yeah,
meet Jeff, take pictures with Jeff, talk to Jeff.
He's fangirl over Jeff.
He's the sweetest man in the world.
He is.
Have him sign your books and, like, go off with some new, like, spirit from Jeff, because he just, like, when he puts out,
he gives a
like,
thumbs up and he says, "Yeah, you got it." It like makes you so happy.
Yes, because you can do it. He says you can do it. You can
all the
do it.
time. Oh,
you can do it.
Well, with that, we're going to say goodbye. You can support the podcast by going to rungallowaygirls.com/shop. You can also shop at beautycounter.com/rungallowaygirls. Support us and like, share, subscribe anywhere the podcasts are, and which you are already listening to this, so you know that.
But we love you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Yeah, we really, really appreciate the support.
It was so amazing getting to meet so many listeners this weekend. So
I know.
You guys are just the best. And we will see you on Wednesday.
Yay. Bye.